Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Chicago Blackhawks franchise mode here in NHL 23. So I'm going to be honest, I have not really looked into any trades and all that stuff outside of last episode because, well, yesterday I was playing hockey and I took a pretty big spill and fell, and yeah, just haven't really gotten a lot of time to just look and see what potential trades we could do to make this team better. Because if you didn't catch last episode, we had free agency, which we didn't really make a big splash in, and I thought basically intertwining our younger guys from the AHL with the NHL roster, bringing in Joe Pavelski as the head coach instead of Kopitar, would help this team. Well, we're 6-14-3 to start this season, and we're at December the 1st, and I just don't understand why this team is doing this bad, because we actually have a pretty solid looking roster on paper. Like, this roster still, I think, in my opinion, at least looks better than some of the teams that have had in Anchorage that have won Stanley Cups. Like, you can see the center depth might not be fully there with like Bursch being on there, but literally this team is not really that bad on paper yet. For some reason, they're very underperforming. So we are going to probably have to make some changes in order to try and get this team to be assimilating a little bit better. Vance has still been very solid, obviously with 12 goals in 23 games. He's on pace for like a 40-something goal season, so I hope that improves a little bit. But we do need the team to start scoring a lot more. It seems like, for instance, like our top six has been okay, but then you get into like the bottom six, for example, youngster Bursch, only 6 points. You got Huxley, only 3 goals in 23 games. So you can see the lack of depth scoring must be hurting us quite a bit. And then also defensively, Len Morris has been an insane liability this year for no reason. He's a minus 22 through 23 games, while mostly everybody else on our defensive core hasn't been that badly minus. Like, they have been some bad minuses, like minus 7, but minus 22 is a very big outlier. So I think trading Len Morris might make sense for this team to do. And then the goaltending numbers have also been very terrible. So I think we need to look into changing up our team a little bit. I just don't really know what exactly we need to do, so I'm going to be trying to make some trades and changes in this episode to get us back into being a playoff team, but we might not make the playoffs this year, which would kind of suck, but at the same time, it is what it is. We're kind of late into the series anyways, but like we have like 7 more seasons to go. Hopefully we could at least get one more Stanley Cup before the end of it, though, because obviously Asher Vance is one of the best players I've ever drafted, and I would like to get him multiple Stanley Cups, not just that one that we got way back. I think that's like 5 years ago at this point. But anyways, before we get into potentially making some trades and simulating probably the rest of the season in this episode, I do have a couple comments from Michael Dose. So the first one says, I also agree switching back coach, getting a second/third line center, Len Morris needs to be replaced, and getting an 85-86 goalie via trade. So he does agree of switching back the coaching staff to Anze Kopitar as the head coach. So that's what we're going to do as our first move to hopefully salvage this season. So let's demote Pavelski for a second. Put Kopitar back as the head coach. And yeah, Pavelski could be an assistant coach. Now let's go ahead here and just adjust our lines right now at least a little bit, just to make sure the chemistry is actually, the chemistry looks so much better when we have, yeah, look at this. Like, the chemistry looks so much better once we have Kopitar back in. Like, it's actually kind of insane. But it's probably not going to still simulate that well, likely. Still -1 on the second period, but if we go like this, then it gets a +5 on the second period. Yeah, I like the defensive plus-minus a lot better. I don't know if that's the one move that we need to do in order to make this team better, but that would be nice. He also says to get a second/third line center and also to get rid of Len Morris. So we'll probably look into that type of thing. Also probably upgrading the goaltending situation. We do also have Tayupkin in the minors, and we also do have Blackburn, who's technically NHL ready. So I might be willing to trade both these goalies away and then get Blackburn into the lineup, and then basically running like Blackburn and whoever we trade for, because I would probably trade away Hue. Artukin, I could maybe still use as a depth goaltender or put him down on waivers, something like that, but we do need to try and get this goaltending situation better. Artukin has been the better of the 2 goaltenders because Hue has been absolutely terrible, so I'd like to move him away if possible. The next comment from Michael says, funny that the 4th overall pick in this year's draft is named Parrott, which is true. I did see that right after right near the end of when I was recording. It's a defenseman though, I'm pretty sure, right? Yeah, it's a left defenseman, Matt Parrott from the Ottawa 67s. We don't know really much about him, but that'd be kind of funny just to have a Parrott in this year's as well. But If, for instance, we somehow have the first overall pick in this year's draft, we at least have a sniper in this draft, so we will be able to get ourselves more depth scoring that way. But at the same time, I don't think anybody's going to come close to Asher Vance's numbers. But you never know, if we end up missing the playoffs, maybe we get ourselves at least a nice elite prospect that could help out with that depth scoring a little bit more and be kind of like the second instance of this team in a sense, because we got a lot of young guys. Obviously, we just need some better young guys like medium elites, and then we would actually have more of a future plan for this team after the fact that Vance retires and all that. But we only have like 7 seasons left, so it's kind of pointless. And then the final 2 comments from Michael says, I would have rather traded Blackburn and picks for an NHL caliber goalie at 85-86 rating. And then I was asking him about Gunderson in Arizona because for some reason it's an 86 overall goaltender in the AHL. So he says, Gunderson, sure. Len probably needs to go. I would dip into the cap and also get a sender also. I know you want to save money, but I say spend to go after the season and worry about next season later. So yeah, we're going to try and focus on this season and not ahead of time. If there's players that are like we trade for that are signed for a couple of years, maybe we move them away at the draft if we need to. But for right now, we're just going to try and get this team as good as possible so we have a better chance at maybe winning ourselves another Stanley Cup. But I honestly don't know why this team has only 6 wins in its first 23 games, but we've had worse seasons before, because if you guys remember, I think it was like way back in like year 2 or 3, I'm pretty sure there was a season where we only had like 19 or 20 wins on the year, and it was like one of the worst seasons I've ever had in a franchise mode. Well, this season might end up being like that for no reason, which would be really weird. So anyways, let's look into some of those players that Michael was mentioning, because we want to turn around the page on this team if possible. So Arizona, they aren't going to want that other goaltenders thing if we were to try and trade for Gunderson, because they already have, an 89 and an 88 in the NHL, which is absolutely outrageous. So they do want to get rid of Gunderson, but they technically don't need another goaltender. Well, actually, they technically do, because their other goalie's unsigned. So I guess it would make sense in that range to trade them a goaltender. So basically, I would say probably moving Hugh Way in this trade, even though Blackburn is the older of the two. I would probably move Hugh Way because he's got a little bit more value. He is younger, but he's also been much worse, I think. Gustavo Blackburn hasn't really... I think he actually last year in the NHL he had an 897. Hugh Way this year has an 873. Yeah, Hugh Way has technically been the worst out of the two. So I think moving Hugh Way in this deal would probably be the most sense. So we give them Hugh Way so they have technically 2 goalies in the AHL, even though it technically doesn't make sense because they'll be running an 83 in the AHL, but that's what they want to do. Who else do they have matching the block? Not really a whole lot. At least that I would want to move out. Yeah, there's not really a lot that I would move out on that list. I could easily give them like a 4th round pick in this, but yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this done. I want them to retain salary kind of too, but I don't really want to focus on the salary cap right now. So Hugh Way and a 4 for Gunderson's probably not going to work. I'm going to have to probably throw something into this deal to get it done, because they want all these guys, but the only thing is I'm not willing to move any of these guys. I don't think actually Glenn Morris is the only one I'd be willing to move with that much amount of value. So I could do maybe over 45 skaters. Maybe we'll do Hugh Way in a separate trade. But then they wouldn't have enough goaltenders, I think. Unless they decide to sign that guy. But yeah, let's remove Hugh Way from this deal. Maybe over 45 skaters. Let me actually go back to the trade finder and see what they were looking at offering us, because I want to see if I could get maybe a little bit more in depth here. Because Len Morris has a lot of value, so I think moving him in order to get Gunderson would probably be the best bet. Then we trade away the other goaltender in a different trade. So it'd be Gunderson and Cairns, because we have to take in another roster player. So that's what the trade would be. To be honest, it's not really that bad, because you're thinking we're saving 2 years on Len Morris's contract by bringing in Gunderson. We are paying a little bit more to Gunderson, but it's not that terrible. There's other trades as well, but none of them are very interesting to me. Gunderson's like kind of what we need in a sense. Like we want to change that goaltending dynamic quite a bit. So it'd be Morris for Gunderson and Cairns. Yeah, I could probably do that. Because Cedric Cairns, he's not really much of a prospect, but still, he'll give us another guy for the AHL. So yeah, you know what? We're going to just do this trade straight up. And then we're going to trade away another goaltender. So Len Morris is off to Arizona. and we're gonna try and change up our team a decent amount. Looks like apparently I have to make some line adjustments, but I do know I'm just gonna go best lines for now. I'm not gonna focus on our lines yet because we are going to be making a decent chunk of changes. So there's our first order of business, is bringing in a goaltender. Now we need to trade away. Go here, overall. Now we need to trade away. Oh, Artugan automatically got sent to the AHL. Now we got to trade away probably Hue, I'd say, and then we'll call up Blackburn as the backup. And then we have Artugan as a failsafe and Tyupkin. Yeah, I'm going to try and trade away Hue here. I should actually go to the trade finder and see what people offer us for Hue instead. Just because I honestly don't know what I could get for him. And I'm kind of curious. So we could get a second and a prospect, a third and a fourth, 2/3. Brigley. Not really liking all these trade options. I would probably rather use him towards a second line center if possible, because obviously, like I said, Michael said, we need probably a second line center in order to get this team a little bit better depth-wise. Like, if we look at our center depth at the moment, it would probably be something like these centers, so Reefers, Adamski, and then likely Ziska's right there. Godfrey maybe as a fourth liner, or whoever got scratched, Burish, for example. So we could technically use another center. We could always play Adamski on the wing. So, yeah, let's see what there is out there for second line centers potentially. Because maybe there's something that's out there for us. I did look at this at the end of the last episode, but I don't remember seeing anything. I just want to see if there's something that I missed. This might be a really long episode just because if I want to get the rest of the season done. Just a little heads up on that front. But we're trying to make it work. We are trying to make it work. No, Linda's definitely not a second line center. Anton's Brigley, not really second line centers. Curry's not even a center. There's got to be some sort of center out there, right? So far, I'm not really seeing anything out there good for second line centers, so I might actually have to look through each individual team and look at their highest rated centers and see if it makes sense for them to move that player. Not seeing any there. Yeah, this is going to be a really weird season for us, and I don't really know how this team just fell apart after those moves in the offseason, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Who was that center? It was only an 82, though. Alcock, kind of getting a little bit too overpaid, but still only an 82 is not really much of an upgrade. So we kind of want to look for like an 84, 85 maybe, but I don't know if we'll have the value to move it, because, I mean, I would have to give up probably some prospects in order to do some of that. Yeah, I didn't see anything out there. So let's take a look at each team and see if we could find a team that's not doing too well. So let's look for a team that's not doing too well first to start off with, like the Colorado Avalanche, who we've made multiple trades with. Let's take a look at their center depth. It's not really that good. Berkeley Catan signed for 3 years, so I'm not really too interested in a guy signed for that long. Columbus isn't doing too well, but they're doing okay. Florida's really not doing too well, but they don't really have the center depth. McNabb is their best center at an 83. We're kind of looking for something a little bit better than that. Frank Nazar, our former player, we could always bring him back, but not really interested, to be honest. Minnesota has Ville Pedersen. Pollock was a young guy that just drafted, I guess, recently, a couple years ago. Janik signed for 4 years, and nothing really there. There's got to be a team, right? Wow, New Jersey's killing it. Didn't realize they were doing that good in their first 20 games. Rangers, we've made trades with you in the past. They do have Earl, 3 years. 11 is a bit too much for me, to be honest, right now, just because of our cap situation. Like, I want to take on some cap, but I don't want to take on too much. Barnett, 5 years left. If that was like a 1-year deal, that'd be nice, but Pittsburgh's doing tragically bad as well, just like us. They do have Boys for 2 years. How is Marshall Boys? 16 points this year, 51 last year, 66 the year before. He might be actually the type of thing I would like. Does he fit our second line potentially? He does fit all forward lines and power play lines. That's actually nice. Okay. So we found somebody intriguing. The question is, are we going to be able to trade for that player? What do they have interest in? Do they have interest in Hue first and foremost? Probably not, but we'll add Hue because of the value. They'd be under the minimum salary cap. We have to give them salary cap back. That's not great. Because I don't really know who has a cap that I can move. They'd be under by, like, I don't know, $5 million. How much is Boys making? 7.605. I could get them to retain on it, but it's hard to get the AI to retain. Like, let's get them to retain, like, $2 million. So that way they actually maybe stay closer to the cap. Or get them right to the cap. Because I don't want to give up our first round pick, obviously, this year. I'm okay with giving up later picks, but 50% even, they would still be under the salary cap. I don't think we're going to be able to make something work with Pittsburgh, because I don't know if anybody of these guys I'm going to be willing to move. Unless I get rid of... Unless I technically upgrade our center depth and get rid of a center on this team. Which right now, Vance is not a center for us, but Reefers, Adamski. We could give them Adamski. Technically. Or Martins, but I don't want to give Martins. This guy could give up potentially too. If I give up Ziska in this, and they'd still be under salary cap at 50% retained still too. And still even with Adamski, jeez. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to make a trade with Pittsburgh, unfortunately, because of that salary cap issue. Let's see. I want to give them Hue at least in a trade. Toronto. Didn't you just recently win a Stanley Cup? No, never mind. Maybe that was in my other series. Lawson, 3 years. Savoy, even. I honestly don't know what I want to do here. I might wait till the deadline to look a little bit more in depth into this. Let's see, Savoy. He's actually doing really good this year. Does fit our first line. But that's under Pavelski. Matthew Savoy. Matthew Savoy. He is older, so he is dropping off. But I don't know if he's really much of an upgrade over Adamski is the thing. The Golden Knights are doing really good too. That guy's signed for too much, and he's too young, so they probably wouldn't want to move him. Yeah, I'm not really seeing a whole lot out there. Let me look through the teams that are actually doing okay as well. See if I could find something. I might just try and sim a little bit with this team, but I do want to trade away Hue at least first, because we don't technically need this much amount of goaltenders. Delorier, 1 year left. But Boston, how are they doing? Not very well. Is he's got an extension in place or no? He does have an extension in place, damn it. If he didn't have an extension, that'd be nice. Michael Misa only has 1 year left and no extension. But I honestly don't know if there's a way to get somebody like Misa. He doesn't even fit our system really that well. So I don't think that's going to work out. Let me keep looking through these teams. There's got to be somebody, right? There's got to be somebody. 1 year left for Maselli. Extension in place because he's only 23. Yeah, that's not going to work. Come on. There's got to be one player. One player out there. Nobody there. There's got to be one. I feel it. There's got to be at least one. Signed for 3 years at an 86 at 27. Louis Fournier, he's doing really well. But Caroline, I think, is doing really well as well, right? Yeah, I don't think they'd want to try and do something like that. I don't want to make it too unrealistic. Shane Wright, how many years? 2 years, but 12 million, McClellan's got only 1 year left with no extension in place. That would be a risky trade because we'd have to re-sign him, but this guy's not doing good at all. 1 goal in 21 games, 12 assists. Not very interested in that, to be honest. Dallas, let's see what you got. 3 years left for that guy, and then he'd probably be a free agent. That's a good contract, though, but Dallas, I think, is doing well, right? Yeah, it's not realistic. Keeping, let's see, 1 year left and 1 year extension. The extension of 1 year only is kind of interesting. There's also this guy who's an 87. They aren't doing the best in the world, but they're not doing terrible either. They do also have Outlaw, but he's getting paid a lot of money for 2 years. Yeah, that's way too much value for me. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to be able to upgrade our center depth right now. I think we might just have to simulate the season and see how we do the rest of the way. Because not really seeing a whole lot out there. I don't want to trade for somebody that's got stupid value and then risk us missing the playoffs and all that shit too. Yeah, I'm not liking some of the contracts on these players. I know I said technically it doesn't really matter about the cap hits, but Manlow's only got 2 years left. He would be fantastic for a first line center, but we have Reefers too, so. Pritchett on 2 years. No, it does not fit anything. Yeah, they're doing good. Like, these teams that are doing well enough, they aren't going to be wanting to make any trades. The Islanders aren't doing the best, but that guy signed for 4 years. We already looked at the Rangers. Ottawa's doing good. They probably don't want to make any changes. Philly's not doing good. I think we looked at them. Yeah, we did. San Jose. Our former player Cox is there, and they signed him to a 3-year deal in the offseason. Seattle, Tokarski, 3 years left, and he's a free agent. They're not doing the best in the world. Tokarski's kind of intriguing. His 3 years is 9 points in 22 games, though. It's not very good. This guy seems like he's like right in the same boat as Adamski, to be honest. I don't see much of an upgrade there. Yeah, I honestly might just simulate more. See how this team does first. But I do want to get rid of Hugh kind of too, so I might just offload him for prospects or picks. And then I don't really know if we're going to upgrade our team the rest of the season. Lawson. Did I look at Lawson already? I feel like I did, but I don't know. I did not. 3 years at 8 is a lot, kind of. This sucks. I thought there would be at least somebody out there. But right now, not seeming like it. A lot of these teams have bad center depth too. So I think we'll just try and trade Hugh away for like picks right now. And then we'll probably call up Blackburn as the backup goaltender. And then we'll see what we're able to do the rest of this year. Almost. We might make some more changes, but let's get Hugh dealt. And I will probably take multiple third-round picks so we can use that to move into a second-round position in next year's draft, or this upcoming draft. So there you go, Detroit. Take on Hugh from us. We don't need him anymore. Under the roster limit. Well, I'm going to have to call up our boy in Blackburn because he's been scratched in the AHL anyways. Let's go with edit NHL lines. And let's set this back up again here quickly. Who is scratched? That shouldn't be Burish. Burish is the only one. We want to reset this the way we had it before, kind of. And we're just going to hope that this team can do way better than we were doing before. Because I don't really know what's going to make this team better. I honestly don't. So we want Adamski there. Corrado on this side, there and there. Boom. And we'll get the youngster Burish in. And that is good. We do not want Cairns up here, so we're going to send Cairns down. And we'll call up whoever it was that got sent down. That shouldn't have. Which I don't really know who that was. We'll just send him down. There we go. And we'll go best lines. Actually, should we go best lines in the AHL? And I don't know if that Cairns guy needs to play, really. I'll just leave it like this. Yep, okay, that's it. That's all we're doing for now. We might make some changes closer to the trade deadline, but I just want to see how this team does with Kopitar now being head coach again, and also with the goaltending change, because Gunderson might might change this team's complexion a little bit. I don't really like his contract of getting paid $7 million, but at least it's like not as long term as Len Morris's was. So, oh yeah, I didn't even take a look at our defensive core without Len Morris. I completely forgot we moved even Len for no reason. Let me just make sure our defensive pairings are looking okay. Oh yeah, Kamachi gets in. We don't technically have a depth defenseman. That's a bit problematic. Yeah, that's a bit problematic. Yeah, I don't know about this. I do not know about this. I could call up Leonardo Knights as a depth defenseman, but I don't really want to do that yet. I'm going to just simulate and see what happens. If we have an injury, I'll call up Leon. Actually, maybe not call up Leonardo Knights. Maybe I need a depth defenseman. Is there one that I could sign in the free agent area? That's like a 78. I'll just take one of those if possible. There's a 77. Aiden Lowe. Let's just take on this guy as a depth defenseman. There we go. Because we need a depth defenseman at least for the rest of the season. And I do not want to risk Leonardo Knights yet. Let's just see if he signs with us first. There we go. Lowe is signed, and we'll call him up. We won 6-2 in the first game with Kopitar being back as head coach, so that might be a good thing for signs to come. Let's call up Lowe. There we go. And let's begin simulating and see how this team does. Maybe we'll randomly just turn the page and get to 500 and then win the Stanley Cup, because honestly, like, sometimes you have terrible starts, but you can really just build your way back into the season. So hopefully that's one of those seasons that happens for us. I don't think that guy was ever injured. Could be wrong. But let's see what happens. There's another loss. If we miss the playoffs, honestly, I don't really know if I really care. But there is a defensive injury. That's why we signed a depth defenseman, because Hutton goes down with an injured neck. Or neck strain, I should say. But that kind of sucks. Winning a 9-2 loss against a Pittsburgh team that has been struggling. That's not a great sign. Not a great sign at all. Yikes. We will go to there, put Hutton back in. That is good to go. Yeah, we're still kind of bouncing between wins and losses here. I think we're going to end up missing the playoffs this year unless we have an insane second half. But 12-18-4, it's better than it looked before. We are still 12 points back of a wild card spot, though. If we have a really good second half, that'd be nice, but I don't know. I do not know. Like, Vance is definitely underscoring in terms of goals. He's picking up more assists than goals this year, which is unlike him for sure. So, hopefully he starts scoring a little bit more goals, obviously, but it sucks because he's not going to hit likely a 50-goal season this year unless he has an insane second half like he normally does, but I don't know if he'll be able to do that with this type of team. Let's go another month and see if we start winning some more games, because if we could get like to back to 500, then the next step is to be above 500. So we'll see if we're able to get some wins here, or some at least overtime games to give us some more points here. But so far, not so good. Boston shootout win. That's nice. Gustafsson has been injured with an MCL sprain. Jeez, that's not good. That's only for like a month at least, but still, that is not a good injury to have at this stage. Okay, yeah, we're still kind of being that streaky team. We have way too much regulation losses probably at this stage. Ribeiro's back for the AHL. That's good, because Karen's a defenseman, was playing forward. At least we have like still like a bright future with some of the prospects in our system, but I don't really know why this team is not doing as good as they were. It's just really weird. Okay, so let me go flip this back. So 19, 22, and 7, that is better. We're almost back to 500. We're 5 points now up on the Avs, so we're not last place in our division anymore. We are technically only 8 points back, so we are starting to make up some ground. If it's not even that much, but still starting to make up some ground. The amount of regulation losses is very concerning, but the fact that we have points in 26 of our 40 games or 48 games is at least decent, but we need to start winning a lot in regulation and getting that regulation loss number down. Like, if we could be above like 500 in terms of wins by the trade deadline, then maybe things are turning around. But I still am not really sold on how this team has been performing. Vance is starting to score more goals. He was at 18 before, remember, and now he's at 27. So Vance is all of a sudden trying to will this team into a playoff spot. He's still over a point per game on this team too, which is kind of insane to say, because this team is definitely not as good as they have been in the past. But let's go to the 29th and see if we're able to get above 500 in wins. That would be great, but we start off with 2 losses in regulation. That's not good. Let's go replace player on that. 8-1 win over the Shark. That's nice. 2 out of 3. Okay. Still losing way too much in regulation to probably get us into the playoffs. And we're going to end up having like a tweener pick or something like that. But if we end up winning a draft lottery, that would be great. But, I mean, we haven't really won the draft lottery in the series, I don't think. Why is this glitching out still? Stupid thing. They really need to fix that. That's really annoying. We're still losing a lot in regulation. Gustafsson is back. That's nice. We'll take McNabb out. Hopefully Gustafsson can help out the defensive play a little bit on this team. Let me stop the sim again because it for some reason always goes to the calendar all the way at the end for some reason. It's really annoying. Come on, boys. Let's get 4 wins here. Shootout, or no, regular loss. I almost said shootout loss for some reason. Damn, I can't barely even focus. There's 2 losses. 3 losses in our last 4. 23, 29, and 7. I think this season's almost a write-off at this point. Yeah, we're 15 points back of a wild card spot. 15 points back. That is not good. That is not good at all. Like, I mean, it's possible to still get back into this, but I don't think it's possible almost. Like, we'd have to, like, win pretty much every game down the stretch and stop losing in regulation. Like, technically, with overtime losses included, we have 36 losses in 59 games. So it's looking like for one of the first years in Asher Vance's career that he might miss out on the playoffs, because I think he's made it mostly every year of his career, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe the early years, not so much, but this is not looking great. I don't want to do a fire sale either in a sense, because I think this team can make it back to the playoffs next year with the integration of more younger guys and all that, but I honestly don't know what it is we need to make this team better. I know that second line center that Michael was mentioning earlier would have probably been nice, but the thing is, there's not really an area I could fit one in at the moment. Like, I would rather just keep the team as is for now. Has Gunderson been good at least? He has not been. He has not been. I mean, he's at least 500 in terms of wins and losses and stuff, but at 884 is not good. He might be the type of guy we'd look to move in the offseason as well. Yeah, I think we got to just keep on rolling with it. You got to keep rolling with it. I'm not going to intentionally tank because I know people, at least in my other series, have been like, oh, when you intentionally tank, that's kind of unrealistic. But, I mean, some teams intentionally tank, so we're still in a good spot to potentially get a really high up pick this year, which, I mean, if we end up getting ourselves an elite prospect, maybe that's the thing we need to get this team back into winning more games. So I'm going to probably just keep the team as is, and then hopefully we get a good prospect in the draft, or multiple good prospects in the draft this upcoming year. It'd be nice to win the draft lottery, but I have not won a draft lottery, I don't think, in the series, because Asher Vance was the 2nd overall pick, remember that, because Vancouver was stupid enough to take a defensive defenseman that was medium elite. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to make any changes. There's another loss in regulation. There's too much regulation losses at this stage. Let's get the rest of the season done, because we're not making the playoffs unless we just go on a torrential pace down this stretch, but it's not happening. Let's try and give the team a little bit of confidence by saying that we're a buyer, though. This sucks. This really does suck. There's a major trade. Michael Misa gets traded to Detroit from Boston for Cullen and Tuominen. I don't think I know those guys, but Misa we were looking at potentially. Sawchuk on waivers. 23 years old and 75. Does have good shooting, but not really an NHL caliber player. So, Kamachi's now been injured. That's why I brought in a depth defenseman, because you just never know with those defensive injuries. Corbett's been injured in the AHL. Let's go replace player on that. Hopefully Rockford at least is having a good run this year, because if Rockford has a good run, at least that means the future might be bright. But since Brandon Kopitar back in as head coach, we have been doing better, I'd say, but probably not by much. So there's 3 straight wins, or 4 straight wins actually. There's 5, 6, no, not 6, 2 straight losses. God damn. I was hoping we'd go on a crazy win streak to end the season, but yeah, too much regulation losses. We were last place in our division again. Well, we might have really good odds for the first overall pick. We are currently not the worst team, though. The Blue Jackets and Flyers are terrible, too. I think right now we have the 4th best odds at the first overall pick, if I'm not mistaken. So let's hope that we maybe get that first overall pick, but we're going to probably cheat ourselves out of that somehow. Corbett is back for the AHL. We are starting to win a lot of games, of course, right at the end of the season, as I thought we would, but it's a bit too late for that, it looks like. Because let's take a look at the race again in the standings. We're 9 points back. We're not going to make the playoffs. We can't even if we win every single game left. Yeah, because last wildcard's at 84. We have 75. That sucks. We actually almost got ourselves back into it a little bit, but it was a bit too late. Bit too late for that. Kachuk's been injured. Let's go replace player because the season's pretty much done anyways. And yeah, we won 3 straight games. So we finished 37, 38, and 7. So we actually had a really good stretch near the end of the season. And we end up finishing with the, let's see, 1, 2, 3 teams are below us. 4 teams are below us. 5, 6, 7, 8. So basically because of how good we were in the last little bit, we probably will have a top 10 pick, not a top 5 pick. That kind of sucks. Vance finished with 44 goals and was under point per game because the team was not good enough. Well, he almost hit 50 goals again, but the team is just not good enough. That really sucks. That really sucks. Let's take a look at the standings and player stats for the season. And then we'll obviously get the rest of the season simulated up to the draft and all that stuff. But really weird season for this team. Really weird. I'm used to us being one of the best teams in the league all the time, and now we're just starting to trend backwards a little bit. 22nd in the league. At least we started the win near the end, but not enough. Goals for per game wise, where did we finish even? Yeah, we finished below mid-table, so our offense was definitely not enough this year. And then goals against per game wise, we were one of the worst defensive teams, I think. But it did improve, I'm pretty sure, from last time we looked, so that's at least good. Power play percentage wise, our power play was actually okay, I think. Yeah, our power play was okay, mid-table. And the penalty kill at 81.9% definitely improved, but it was still a pretty low penalty kill percentage. It was the second worst before, but then it moved all the way up to the 6th worst in the league instead. We did have 10 short-handed goals though this year, which might be one of the most in the league. Yeah, it was the most in the league, so that's a positive. And yeah, look at that, 7-3 in our last 10 games to end the season, and knock our chances of being the first overall pick quite a bit, I'd say. Let's take a look at these player stats, though. So Vance was good, of course, as always. +9 with 79 points, 44 goals. Still elite player, which is great, so he's not dropping off yet. But that's his worst point total since 2030, so in a decade. And that's his worst goal total since a few years ago when he had 43 goals. But he had 100 points that year, too. Damn. Damn. No playoffs for Vance this year. That sucks. Reefer's 68 points. He's definitely dropping off. Yeah, he's dropping off too much. That's one of the big things for him, for us, is he's dropping off fast. He might not get another shot at another Stanley Cup, but yeah, he's dropping off quite rapidly in terms of production and overall. Adamski, 43 points, 28 goals. I'll take that 28 goals any day. Didn't have any power play points, so he wasn't on the power play, I guess. Zizka was good offensively, but that plus-minus terrible. Martin's the same type of boat. Not a bad rookie season for Bursch. 23 points, 5 goals only, but he's a playmaker, I think. And Godfrey had no points. Left wing-wise, Gustafsson, 22 points in 68 games. Missed a lot of time. Didn't really put up the offensive numbers he did last year. So, yeah, really lack of depth scoring is our problem. And Desmond Huxley had 16 goals in his rookie season, so that's a little bit of a positive. And McNabb is a depth option, had 6 goals in 14 games, 7 points. Not bad. He does have a good shooting category, so not really that bad. He was a former 15th overall pick, so he did deliver as a depth forward. Right wing-wise, Brossoit was solid, so I am glad we held on to Brossoit, even though it was a bit pricey. He's been a pretty consistent player. Definitely the guy that's been helping out Asher Vance. His potential dropped to top 6. Recchi, 56 points, not bad. He might be dropping off soon too. Corrado, 50 points is pretty good. I like that. And Zuber's 47 points. So yeah, I do like the stats from the right wingers. Left wingers don't really like it. Centers, I like it for up to this point. Burrish, actually wait, I like all the center scoring, I think. It is a little bit low but in some areas, but I think the left wingers definitely is a problem right now. Defensively, Jokela had only 36 points, and then yeah, the lack of scoring from the back end is a problem. Normally, Brunstrom and Jokel are really good offensively, but they are not doing so well. Jokel went from 48 points to 36 points, which is not a huge drop-off. But Matthias Brunstrom started off the season actually really good, I'm pretty sure. And he's been dropping in production every single year. I know some people say I should be moving him, but the thing is he's been with us for his entire career, so I would probably rather him retire with us than to move him. But maybe he's something that we have to look at doing and getting him to a Stanley Cup contending team again. We also do have Hutton and Del Monte, who didn't do too bad. Kachuk as well. Camachi, 14 points in 58 games. That's really not that bad. And Lowe had 1 goal as a depth option. But a -7 in 7 games. But we only brought him in just to fill out that depth need. And then goaltending was not really that good. Yeah, goaltending was not really that good. The good thing is we do have Tyupkin in the minors, but still we definitely need to improve in terms of goaltending quite a bit. Sucks. Maybe if we didn't let go of Howden, maybe we would have made it back to the playoffs again. I don't really know. But let's take a look at stats around the entire league as well. Let's see. So Cornette in New York had 118 points, Frolov 112, and Sylvan Parks 105. So those are your 100-point scorers. 3 guys in the top 4, all Islanders players. Jeez. Best goal scorer this season was Moses with 56, him and Charnquist. And Asher Vance was not very far off. He was 44 goals. So, I mean, he still did really good for a team that really didn't do that well. And then in terms of the Selke candidates, let's see what we got here. It's looking like it's probably Chubarov. Or it might be Doyle. Yeah, probably Chubarov or Doyle, my guess. Best defenseman this year was Pisani with 80 points. 82 games. He's only a top 4 defenseman. Damn. Ooh, this guy's a pending free agent. I don't know if he has an extension in place. That'd be nice. Denisov, 63. Christensen, 63 as well. Former defenseman Datsuk had 57 points. Damn. He might be reunited with Len Morris. And goaltending-wise, the best goaltender for wins was Boyle. Save percentage-wise was Lidman. Oh, man, I was looking at maybe trading for Lidman, too. Yeah, I was looking at maybe trading for Lidman because he was one of those goaltenders we were looking at that was on the block. Pittsburgh might have turned it around. And goals against per game-wise, the best by starter was Boyle with a 2.59. Best rookie this season was Dwayne Henderson, of course. The franchise player that went first overall. He had 66 points in his rookie season. So there is that. Let's simulate up to the awards and all that stuff and wrap up the season. We'll take a look at the draft class then. See where we're drafting because we haven't had a draft lottery pick in quite some time. Hopefully we somehow win the lottery and get ourselves a good prospect with it. Or we could try and move up always too because we got the assets to move up, I'd say. Let's go best lines because nobody's playing on this team anymore anyways. Oh, Leonardo Knights has been injured. Let's go replace player, but that's a big blow for the AHL. Leonardo Knights might be in the NHL next year, which is exciting. I don't know if the AHL team's still playing. I don't think they are, but I'm going to still put Leonardo back in just in case, because if Rockford could get a Calder Cup, that would be great. That would be great. Let's see. It's crazy that we're this close to the end of this series as well, though. Like, Anchorage is literally close to ending as well. Or probably by the time you guys see this episode, I think we only have like a couple episodes left. So Vegas wins the Stanley Cup this year, and Bakersfield won the AHL. So Vegas, the Stanley Cup champions, huh? Let's take a look at those awards. Actually, let's take a look at the tree first. So Vegas swept Montreal for the Stanley Cup. So Montreal got back to the finals yet again. Jeez. Yeah, Montreal is just one of those teams that wins so much in this series. Because Montreal has been to so many Stanley Cup finals. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they've been to 2 of them in the last 5 years. And I'm pretty sure they've won some Stanley Cups as well in the past. Yeah, they have won one in the last 10 years too. So Cornette, the Art Ross, and the Hart. Pisani to Norris. Bedard to Bing. Henderson the Calder. Olofsson the Conn Smythe. Boyle the Vesna. Tuolola the Jennings. Him and Hicketts. Kelly the Masterton. Price the Jack Adams. Chubarov the Selke. Cornet, the Lindsay, Mojis, and Charnquist shared the Richard. Any awards for our AHL players? Not looking like it right now. Damn. Damn. Let's take a look actually at that cup-winning Vegas team, because I do want to see if there's any former players there. Let's see what we got here in Vegas. Anybody that I recognize? Oh, yes. We traded Gustav Skabanov at the draft last year, and he was one of the pieces they needed to win the Stanley Cup. He had an 80-point season this year, which is the best of his career. Well, that's probably what we needed, is still Kabanov. We got rid of him for... I don't know if I should have got rid of him. I should have held on to him. Because if we held on to him, we would have had our second-line center. But he goes on to win a Stanley Cup with the Vegas Golden Knights. Anybody else that I recognize? Nobody on there. Defense. Oh, yeah, the Pisani guy's really good, so that makes sense. Goaltending-wise, nobody really. Yeah, so we get rid of Kabanov. He goes on to win a Stanley Cup. That really hurts, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Let's find out where we're drafting in this year's draft lottery. Do we have a lottery pick number 1? No, we do not. We have the 11th overall pick. God damn it. That's a pick I didn't want to have. I wanted to have like a top 5 pick if we were to draft that high. I think we could still try and move up if we really want to, but 11 isn't really a great spot because normally you don't get really any elite players there. Retirement-wise, did we lose anybody? I don't think so. But the big retirements, Wright, Lundell, Newhook, Slavkovsky, that type of thing. Don't think there's really going to be any former players here, but I'll still skim through this so you guys can see everybody that retired. And then, yeah, we'll take a look at the draft class, and hopefully we could get somebody good at our spot, or we could try and move up. Some EA-generated guys are already retiring, which is kind of crazy. Damn. Goalie-wise, Elena Feltz. Oh, my goodness. Nedek Pozo has retired. Okay, well, there's one former player from last season for a little bit. Ned is retired at 35. One of the best playoff goaltenders I've ever seen in a franchise mode, other than Aiden Tays. So shout out to Ned for retiring. He retires at 35. And that's the only former player I saw. Coaching staff-wise, we did not lose anybody, I think. Let's double check. Yeah, we did not lose anybody. That's good. We did lose an OHL scout, so kind of, if you guys could remind me about getting an OHL scout, that'd be great. So there's that, and let's take a look at the progress reports, the contract situation, and obviously the draft class, because that draft class might help us turn a page a bit, it might not. Let's see what we got. So Bersois dropping off a lot, same with Reefers. Tayukin is definitely NHL ready, so he should probably be in next year. So we got to probably move around a goaltender in the offseason. Looks like a lot of other guys are getting some development. Vance is dropping off, I think. Yeah, a bit to his shot blocking and stick checking, but he is dropping off. Which means he might be one of those guys that retire at 36 and not get all the way to 40 like Avery Parrott, for example. That's not good. That is not good. I didn't want to see Vance dropping. We are getting growth in the system from some of our prospects, which is nice. So there's that. Canzanello went up to a 72. Not really huge growth, but still. I don't know if this team's going to have another chance to win a Stanley Cup. It's hard to tell. I hope that Vance could do it, but you never know. Contract situation. Who's up for renewal? Okay, a couple of young players. Not really anybody huge on the UFA front, but these RFAs are definitely guys that I wouldn't mind trying to lock up when we have the chance to. But Komachi is a UFA. He wants 3.6. That's a bit pricey, but we might want to hold on to him. So it's mostly RFAs that we need to re-sign, which is good, but still don't know what we do with this situation, because now that we have Gunderson, we have Tayukin who could jump to the NHL too. That means Blackburn and Artukin, both these guys should be gone, so we'll have to look into doing something like that. Okay, final thing, the draft class. We have the 11th overall selection in this year's draft. How much picks do we got in this year's draft again? We only have our normal picks, okay. We only have our normal picks. We could still trade future picks to move up, but the number 1 selection is Louis Hamel, likely, who's like Owen Nolan. There's Ruskovich. There's the Parrott, two-way defenseman guy. But we have the 11th overall selection, which means Alex Highnote might be really good, might not be. He's 1 year out. He might be medium elite. He might be medium top 4. I feel like he's going to be medium top 4. Yeah, I think he's going to be medium top 4. This guy's NHL ready, though. So we do have a couple defensemen that could easily take the spot of Komachi next season if we draft one of them. Or we could try and move up. This guy's NHL ready apparently too, but he's only top 6, so he might be like a 78. We could definitely try and move up. There is a medium elite offensive defenseman. Oh my goodness, that's exactly what I want. That's exactly what I want. He is 3 years out though. So he's going to be a little bit of a lower overall, but he's an offensive defenseman, medium elite, and a gem. I would say leaning towards him. But he is 3 years out. That's the only thing. That's the only thing. That's pretty nice. We could still try and move up to, like I said, if we really want to. Which, if we want to move up, moving up into the top 5 would probably be pretty tough. But there is Greening, who we could try and move up for. There is Matt Parrott. Is not really much better than the top 4s, I think. There is Smithson, who is a two-way defenseman as well. There's Ruskovich, who is a good sniper. And then there's also Hamel, who's the power forward, which I don't think we're going to be able to move up for number 1, but you never know. Let's take a quick look and see if there's any low elites to pin for later rounds as well, or medium elites. There's Brookbank, medium elite sniper. Really good shooting, 2 years out at 19. That's a definite pick. That's a definite pick. 2nd round probably. Boma, more goaltenders will pin him. Yeah, this draft might have a lot of depth in it, which is huge. Like, this Hakkarainen guy is looking pretty good, too, but I don't think he's medium elite, but actually, he might be because he's 2nd round. Yeah, this draft might be a really good draft. Might be a really good one for us. And this guy might be low elite. Shane Thomas, 3 years out. We'll pin him in case. Benjamin Faith, I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of guys listed as gems potentially. Okay, this guy's looking great. Wow, that guy might be a really good 2nd round talent too. Magnus Jensen. Huh, okay. This got interesting. Because I think with our 1st rounder, obviously we could, like I said, try and move up. But we could take always Klesla, get a medium elite offensive defenseman. Then we go into, like, say, round 2. We could easily take the... yeah, we could easily take Jensen, 2nd round, who might be a low elite power forward. That's a really high overall. He might be also low top 6. That's a bit risky. And then there's Brookbank, who's a medium elite sniper to take potentially in round 3, or we take in round 2. So there's a lot of good players in this draft, I think. This might be an important draft class for this team. And look at all the gems in this year's draft, apparently, according to our scouts. There's a good chunk of them. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Chicago Blackhawks franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll take it to the draft and re-sign stage. We'll try and keep this team together and then also move out assets we don't need anymore. And hopefully some of these prospects that we get in the draft could be kind of guys that get in these next few years and turn the tides of this team, because we definitely need to make some noise in free agency, I think, if we want to get advanced another chance at a Stanley Cup.